I will try to introduce to very few brooches, which we are working on for 2 years now. The title of the paper may be unusual, and the group of brooches presented in this paper is admitted very small, and we have only 6 or no, now 7 examples known until today. On the first slide, you can see 4 examples showing Emperor Caracalla in a laurel wreath. They are all of unknown provenance, and apart from one brooch in the Römisch-Germanisches Museum Cologne, they are kept in private collections in Germany, the UK, Austria, and the USA. All brooches are cast from silver and present a gilded surface. So the large cheek hinge present in our group corresponds to contemporary brooches of the late 2nd and early 3rd century, which is obvious by showing Emperor Caracalla. If we look on the back, we see the needle runs horizontally on the lighter pieces. You have maybe recognized the weight and the diameter. We have diameters of around 4 centimeters, but we have within those very small groups of 4 examples, we have 2 groups, 2 smaller ones and 2 bigger ones. So they are nearly in size, the same size, but differences in weight. So we have the 2 on the left, they are much lighter, about 23 grams. And on the right, they are about 34 and 39 grams. So their differences are also in the needle on the back. The 2 have horizontal and the other 2 vertical needle. Yeah, the other thing is Caracalla with a diadem and a central medallion. We have this on the 2 heavier examples, and we can see this also on a portrait from Caracalla in the Louvre, which you see on the right side. You see this in the middle of the diadem in front of his head. So dating is quite easy for these things because we can compare the portrait. This is the Alleinherrscher typus, which dates between 212 and 217. Caracalla's head is turned slightly out of the profile, and he's clearly shown with an angry expression. Both features are typical for Caracalla, so the autocrat portrait type, the Alleinherrscher typus, is very small in dating. The comparison to the marble bust showing Caracalla in the Museo Capitolini, which you see in the middle of the slide, is one example for comparison, but you find a lot of examples in a similar way of expression, and you find also the portraits on a lot of coins, which are very close dated. So now it's Christoph's turn, and I try to continue with the slides.
Okay, let's hello everybody. Sorry for joining you late. I'll try to continue what Martina started. So we are talking about some varieties of these Caracalla brooches. As Martina said, all pieces are very rare. So we have one variety which shows Caracalla and Serapis in a private UK collection. Then we have got a variant Hercules fighting the Nemean lion, and one brooch which stands a little bit alone because it has that oval shape, the emperor in an Ad Lucutio gesture in the Farrell collection in the United States. Next, please. So coming back to what Martina said before, to dating, if we take a closer look at the Caracalla and Serapis brooch, this gives us another hint how these types of brooches may be dated. We have Caracalla coins minted in Rome and in Alexandria only between 211 and 217 with the standing Serapis. And we know that Caracalla visited the Serapeum at Alexandria in 215 AD. He himself called also a Philo Serapis, friend of Serapis. So that gives us a very close dating for the whole group between 211 and 217. Next, please. If we take a look at the rounded shape of the fibula, this recalls us of the Imago Otondo objects, a famous silver fowler from the Victorian camp at Rome and the Antikensammlung at Berlin, the Tondo with the Severian family also at Berlin, or at the Tondo an imperial bust of Marcus Aurelius from Eleusis. So the Tondo itself, the round form itself, gives a hint how important these shapes or these fibula were in ancient times. If we take a closer look at the objects, the Hercules and the Nemean lion, as we see on the left-hand side, is very common in Roman military objects. We have it on Balteos closures from the second and third century AD. Next, please. And if we take a look at the quite outstanding oval brooch with Emperor and Atlacutius, we even see little details. There's a small fibula on his shoulder, or the gesture itself, which is shown or reflected also in coins of earlier emperors. So this is clearly the emperor addressing his own troops. Next, please. It may be at the first time when we were working with these objects, we thought it's quite singular. Nothing is singular in the Roman Empire. So if you take a closer look, you find quite a lot of Roman brooches with emperor portraits. We just chose some. We have an enameled ring disc brooch with pressed sheet medallions dating from the time of Titus or Domitian, with a brooch with pressed metal medallion, which is probably Lucius Verus. And we have a very outstanding brooch of Philippus Arabs and Octacilia Severa from the Archaeological State Collection Munich, from the collection Islinger, which so far really does not have any parallels in the Roman world. Next, please. So the great question arises, what is it all about? Is it representation gift? Is it military decoration? What are we talking about? Next, please. We do have evidence that coin portraits were used for jewelry. So we have a famous ring from Rheinheim, Marcus Aurelius and Faustina, and an inscription Sit in unum concordia. We have a medallion from Berlin, and we have a bracelet in the Landesmuseum from Bonn showing the young Elagabal. So using emperor portraits on jewelry is not quite uncommon. We do have products which really did use imperial coins. We have a narrow coin brooch from Naples and a lead cast from Trier. We do have a quina of Septimus Reverus, which was used for a gold ring. We have even a Balteos disc with Antoninian of Philippus Arabs and Octacilia Severa. Remember the brooch I showed you before of the state collection at Munich. So even using real coins was not so uncommon in Roman times for using them on military or brooches products. Next, please. So if we take a look at the phenomenon of emperors on a small scale, emperors in miniature, we do have the famous mirrors with portraits of Nero. We do have the glass medallions of Tiberius, and also small in the later times portraits fitting Commodus from the Norican border at Ensloch. So all the emperors, if you take a closer look and you really do search for them, you couldn't avoid them in Roman times. Next, please. A great group of small Roman portraits is a group of Camius and Intaglios with emperor portraits. Just a few examples. I do not want to go into details. Just take a look at the one with Caracalla and Septimius Severus, which comes from a private which is now in a private collection. It's really an outstanding example. What is really remarkable that we do have a large selection of Caracalla portraits or related of him in these small gems and intaglios. Next, please. The emperor appears on seals, on seal boxes like Domitian here in the private collection in Germany, a specimen. We have it on lead seals, Septimus Severus as well, and we do have it also on Roman papyri from Roman Egypt with so-called red stamps, stamps which were authenticizing the document. So the emperor appears everywhere. So it's not very surprising. We also do find him on Roman brooches of Caracalla. Next, please. The phenomenon is that the emperor appears on small objects is not so unusual. We take a look in modern times. Some objects which were produced for Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee in 1897. We do have mass-produced objects which were produced for the American market. We do have a small, more elaborated series. We have single specimens, and the Queen also appeared on orders of on specimens of the Royal Star of India or Royal Family Order. So it's quite a common phenomenon that emperors appeared on small objects, not necessarily on military objects. Next, please. So what is this all about? What we can say, we do have the Caracalla brooches, which are clearly related to Caracalla himself, which are very closely dated within a range of 211 and 200, the death of Caracalla. And if we go take a look at ancient sources, we read about so-called leones, which was Caracalla's personal bodyguard. And we do have lion brooches from private collections in the UK, which are of a similar technique as the Caracalla brooches, made of silver and gilded. And we do have even military belts with leone fittings. So it could be that these Caracalla brooches are really the archaeological evidence for the literally attested leones, Caracalla's personal bodyguard. But this must be hypothetical up to now, but could be a good guess. Next, please. Yes. That's all. Caracalla and Victoria, thank you for your attention.
Thank you for that, both Martina and Christof. I'm going to start out. As I'm sharing the session, I'm going to go ahead and ask my question first. Mine was just about the use of these types of things. I mean, I think with the more modern ones, we would say that they're used for propaganda. And I was just wondering, is there any evidence that this is what is happening with the ancient brooches as well, especially considering Caracalla and Gita and all of the things that are going on within the empire at that point in time?
Well, machst du, ja, egal.
It's my turn. Well, I would say that's not only one explanation. We were working on all those objects for a long time now, and we found out that there must also be in ancient times differences between mass production, unique objects, and the mass production is obviously a kind of propaganda or a gift for people being somehow closer to the emperor than others. But there are also unique specimens which can't be seen as propaganda. Maybe also those things, looking at those jewelry with coins in it, are more or less a personal thing to show the close connection to the emperor, or that you agree with the policy or something. So the answer is quite long. What we want to express is that you have to look at every object itself to find out what it could have been or not. Probably.
Yeah. So just to add, from Caracalla point of view, it is certainly propaganda, because if you take a look at the close dating, they are all date after the murder of Jeter. So he had to prove that he was a good guy. So from his point of view, it was certainly propaganda.
Yeah, and we think it was a gift for special military groups in the closer vicinity to Caracalla.
Yeah, excellent. Justine's asked a question about, am I right in thinking that some of your Caracalla brooches are gilded silver as well as them of some being copper alloys, or are they all silver?
Those 4 objects we do have are silver.
Okay. Okay. Fabulous. And we've had a comment that the Lucis Verus looks like a medallion on the Tiberius scabbard at the BM, so that might be something else to look at. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Does anybody else have any questions for Martina and Christof? There's a quiet. They're fascinating objects. I think anything that's showing that sort of role within the empire and that sort of, that kind of mass sort of propaganda or thoughts that everybody should be adhering to. But those are such beautiful pieces that must have been very, very expensive to make. And that's why you only have 4 of them. So yeah.
We do have 4 of them, but there must have been much more.
Yeah. Another one of those, if anybody has some that are hiding away in the attic, let us know. Yes, fabulous. They say ask Holger, and I believe that one of the ones you've had on there is Holger's object, isn't it? Is it Holger?
Good guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought it was. Yes. Great. Well, thank you both of you, Christoph and Martina.